What if I told you that women used to play in the NBA? Or that there's a 4-point line you never knew existed? There's a lot of things that you didn't know about the NBA. Like, did you know that there are jersey numbers that are so outrageous, they're banned from the NBA? Yeah. Back in 1999, Dennis Rodman was doing whatever he could to get attention. Wearing wedding dresses, putting on a little makeup. The man even dyed his hair pink. And his attention seeking didn't stop with his look. See, the man wanted the holiest of jersey numbers. A number so respected, so honored, so prestigious. Rodman decided on 69. What else did you expect? Rodman was so set on that number that his only demand before signing with the Mavericks was to get the number 69. And if there's one team owner that has a sense of humor, it's Mark Cuban. So, of course, he said yes. But there was one problem in the way. NBA Commissioner David Stern. When Dave heard about Rodman's new number, he was not having any of it. He put the hammer down and banned Rodman from wearing it. And even though Rodman and Mark Cuban fought for it, Stern, he didn't have a funny bone in his body, so no one could change his mind. And with that, 69 went down as the only banned jersey number in NBA history. Now, speaking of 69, did you know there used to be women in the NBA? Yeah. All the way back in 1977, the NBA draft wasn't the typical 2 rounds, 60 picks like we see today. It was 7 rounds and 170 picks. So the door was open for way more people to get in. And that year, in the 7th round, the Jazz made history. With the 137th pick, Utah selected Lucia Harris. She became the first woman officially drafted and allowed into the NBA. And she deserved it. In college, Lucia put up 25.9 points and 14.5 rebounds per game. So there was a reason she was picked ahead of 33 other guys. But right after she was drafted, things took a turn for the worst. When Lucia was called for training camp, she never showed up. This was the first woman to join the NBA. She was gonna be a superstar. This was the opportunity of a lifetime. So why did she just disappear? Well, it turns out Lucia was pregnant. And obviously, she can't be out there grabbing rebounds with a baby in her stomach. So, just like that, Lucia's NBA career was over. But it's not all bad. There's actually no rule preventing women from being drafted. If a girl is good enough, she could make it. So only time will tell if we ever see something like this again. But this moment almost never had a chance to happen. Cause back in 1954, the NBA was almost canceled. Just think about how different the world would look without the NBA. I wouldn't even have a job. But to understand how the NBA almost got canceled, we gotta take it back to 1950. See, in the 50s, the NBA was completely different. We'd see teams pass the ball around the court without even trying to score. Some possessions literally lasted 10 plus minutes, and other players would literally sit on the ball just so the other team couldn't get it. What? This was a time with no shot clock. If a team was winning the game, there was no reason to shoot. There was a game between the Pistons and Lakers that literally ended 19-18. That's 37 total points in a 48-minute game. Think about that. That's less than a point a minute. Ridiculous. And because of it, the NBA's viewership was plummeting. Things got so bad, the NBA went from 18 teams all the way down to 9. If something wasn't done fast, the NBA was actually gonna end. So the heads of the NBA sprung into action and they all met up at a bowling alley. Anyway, they needed to brainstorm because, their jobs were on the line. And after studying some analytics, they found the answer. It turns out the NBA was dying because nobody dropped a like and subscribe to the channel. Yeah, that's right. We got the power to save the NBA. I'm like Batman. Ooh, you already know what you gotta do. So what are you doing? But looking deeper into the analytics, they also found that the more points a team scored, the more people wanted to watch. So then came the question, how could the NBA force teams to score more? Well, if they introduced something like a shot clock, teams would have no choice but to get rid of the ball. So that's exactly what they did. And the first game back with the new technology, the Rochester Royals beat the Boston Celtics 98-95, which was way better than a 37-point game. So the NBA knew they found their golden ticket to stay alive. But see, there's actually a change the NBA is considering right now. And this decision will change basketball forever. I'm talking about a 4-point line. Over the last few years, we've seen players like Steph Curry, LeBron, Damian Lillard, and Trae Young taking deeper 3-point shots than any other player in history. But why? You could just walk up 10 feet closer and your life becomes way easier. Well, it turns out teams have been practicing for a potential 4-point line. According to ESPN's Malika Andrews, the 76ers, Hawks, Nets, Bulls, and Bucks were the first teams to implement a 4-point line into their practice facility. And each team has this new line about 5 feet behind their 3-point line. So even though there's no official 4-pointer in an NBA game, teams are preparing the players for when it may come. And it's going to be interesting to see the impact of something like this on the NBA. Now, a 4-point line, that is definitely crazy. But something I've always wondered is, why did the Washington Bullets change their name to the Wizards? Well, it all started with one tragic gunshot. Back in 1995, the Bullets were a team at the top of the NBA. They'd just come off a championship win, when all of a sudden, on November 4th, the Prime Minister of Israel, Yitzhak Rabin, was assassinated. Now, I know what you're thinking. What the f does this have to do with the NBA? Well, Rabin was a very close friend of the Bullets owner, Abe Pollin. And after he was assassinated, the Bullets name kept ringing in Abe's head. He couldn't get over the fact that his very own franchise was named after the thing that killed his best friend. So immediately after the funeral, Pollin announced that the Washington Bullets needed a change. And he said, "My friend was shot in the back by bullets. The name is no longer appropriate for a sports team." So in 1997, the team decided to leave the decision up to the fans. The organization opened up a 1-800 line to the community and allowed them to vote on 5 different options. And if you ask me, these options suck. I mean, just think about this. Washington really could have become the Sea Dogs, Dragons, Express, or Stallions. I never really liked the name Wizards, but now I see what the fans had to pick from. And more. Regardless, the fans spoke and the Bullets became the Wizards. But you want to know what's even crazier than a team changing their name? Everyone in the NBA right now is shooting free throws wrong, just to look cool. Like, you remember making fun of a kid who shot like this?
Yeah, Anawaku shoots his free throws underhand.
Here's the moment we've all been waiting for.
Easy money right there.
Alright, well, what if I told you that's literally the best way to shoot? What, you don't believe me? Well, let's take things back to the 1960s, when Rick Barry was doing the unthinkable. At the time, he was unlike any NBA player in history. And no, he wasn't doing like front flip dunks or shooting full court shots or anything crazy you see today. Instead, he was shooting his free throws like a granny. Yeah, Barry would hold the ball between his legs, wind up, and shoot underhanded. And there was a huge reason for it. At that time, Barry was the greatest free throw shooter in NBA history. So he went on to let the world know his secret formula, saying, from the physics standpoint, it's a much better way to shoot. You have a little bit more margin for error than when you shoot overhanded. Basically, shooting his free throws like this took his wrist and elbows out of the equation. They weren't as involved to mess up the arc of the shot, leading to his ridiculous free throw percentage. But even though this dude was hitting his shots like crazy, he got clowned to hell. I mean, he was getting clowned so bad, other players were afraid to shoot granny style. Shaq himself even admitted, "I told Rick Barry I'd rather shoot 0% to shoot underhanded. Shaq, dog, come here. You did average 0%. What are you talking about? But anyways, I guess players are gonna let their egos get in the way. Now, if you still don't believe me, there's a ton of research on this, and Yale literally proved I'm right, so I don't know what to tell you. But players aren't told to shoot free throws a certain way. They can have whatever style they want, but when it comes to what jerseys players wear, that's something they're forced to do. Like, have you ever wondered why the home team always wears white? Well, when the NBA was first created, the games were being shown on TV, but there was no 4K Samsung flat screen TV of today. All the games were shown in black and white. So it became an unwritten rule that one team needed to be a solid color, and the other had to be white. And this became a permanent thing for decades. But that's not the only thing that's become permanent in the NBA. Since the birth of the league, there's one thing that's always been a part of the game: dirty plays. As long as you got people competing, someone's gonna do whatever they can to get a win. Even if that means purposely kicking a player in the nuts, or trying to injure a star player during a timeout. Huh, you wanna hear more about that? Well, click on this video right here. These are the dirtiest plays in NBA history. And trust me, you need to see what happened to LaMelo Ball. He got done dirty. So, what are you still doing here? This video's over. Click it.